All right, we are recording now. So this is just reminding us writing fractions as decimals and percents. I can write some fractions as percents and decimals by writing an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. So we just did some of this where we went from 50 to 100 by taking it times 2, and then you get 36 over 100, which is 36% or 0.36. And so they've just got some more examples here. So we'll just review some of our shortcuts, and then there's a weird one in the middle. So if I have 8 25ths, how can I make that into 100? Silas?
Multiply by 4.
Multiply by 4, because I know there's 4 quarters in a dollar, right? So then I have to take the top number times 4, which gives us 32. And then what would that be as a percent then? Priya? 32%. And then what would that be as a decimal?
You asked what a decimal would be and then you put it as a percent.
I'm sorry.
It's Tuesday.
It is Tuesday, 0.32. It's the beginning of the week. Okay. So on number 2, I have 12 20ths. How can I change 20 into 100? Shay?
Times 5.
Multiply by 5. So this is going back to our shortcuts.
What are you doing?
Okay, so what's 12 times 5? Titus, what's 12 times 5?
12 times 5 is
60. Good job. So then that means that this is 60%. And then 60 hundredths, if you're writing it as a decimal, I would get this into the hundredths place, which is another way we can think about this. Lots of different things. So we were finding equivalent fractions by multiplying by 100 on here. What about number 3? I need to write it as 100, but I don't think multiplying is going to do it. What do you think, Priya? What am I going to divide by? Okay, so we're going to divide by 2. So we're actually going to reduce to go backwards. So who can tell me what 64 divided by 2 is? Silas? 32. So we have 32 hundredths, and then that tells me it's 32% and 0.32. This has got a lot of repetition, except this one was a little bit different where we had to divide. Just remember when we're doing the percents and the decimals, getting that 100 in the bottom is key. Okay, so number 4, what would we do to get this out of 100? Shay?
times 20.
Multiply by 20. So I have to take 1 times 20, which would just be 20. What's the percent? Priya?
80%.
And then what is the decimal? Shay? 0.20. Okay, so lots and lots and lots of repetition there.
Now we can pull it into one. Oh wait, we're still page.
That was just a reminder buzzing in my boot. All right.
Still some more problems.
So, and I think this part is supposed to be practice. I'm going to have, oh, actually, no, this is a little bit different. So it says write each as a decimal and a percent. What do I do with 3/8? I can't multiply 8 by anything to get 100 unless it's like a weird decimal. So how can I change 3/8 into a decimal? We just had this on the last test. If I can't do an equivalent fraction and I can't do the shortcuts, what's our other? You have to do long division. Correct. Let's just do 1, okay? So which of these numbers goes inside the long division box? 3. Okay. And then the 8's on the outside. So what do I do with that? 8 doesn't go into 3, so what am I doing with that? Talk me through it. Yes?
You put a 0 above it, and then you put point next to it. and point.
Okay, point there and point there. And then we're going to put a 0 here and pretend that it's 30. So I'm going to think about my 8's times table. How many times, Silas?
3.
3. And then 3 times 8 is 24. So 30 minus 24 we have to do, which is 6. And we're going to add another 0 and we get 60. So we have to think a little bit about all of those different times tables. What would be the most number of times 8 could go into 60? Silas Hartman.
8 goes into 60.
7
times.
7 times, good. And 7 times 8 is
56.
56, good. And then I have 60 minus 56, which is 4. We're almost done. So we get 40. So how many times does 8 go into 40? Yes, 5 times. And then 5 times 8 is 40. And so here's my decimal right here, 0.375. Now if I'm going to change that to a percent, I have to move this 2 places to the right, which is going to put that decimal between the 7 and the 5. That's going to make it 37.5%. So let's stop there.